I want to truly make people's lives better. So I'm going to sit down here for a while. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did to get to the position that I'm in, which is multiple six figures a year, working for myself. I have two online businesses, and I've reached a point of true freedom. I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about doing anything really. I do what I want. I make fantastic money. But I want to talk about, again, how I got there and how you can do that as well. And if I had to restart the exact steps I would do it in order to accelerate that process and get to the point that I'm at today much, much quicker. So, back in the beginning for me, I was working in a 9 to 5. I came straight out of school, went into that 9 to 5, did a 2 year apprenticeship. I was delighted. I was making during that apprenticeship €19,000 for the first year, which is about $20,000. In the second year, then I made €21,000, which was awful, but at the time I was delighted. I was straight out of school. From there, then I qualified and I worked there for another 3.5 years, and I ended up making after overtime every year around €50,000. But I was working very, very hard, 60 plus hours a week, long days, call outs at night time, random hours. I'd get calls on my phone. I remember driving almost 2 hours before at like 2 or 3 in the morning just do a call out, and the job was fixed by the time I got there, so I just drove 2 hours back. So it was things like that which were painful, and really your schedule wasn't right. You were just, it was randomly working and working as much as possible. It wasn't freedom. I maybe 22, 23 days off or annual leave per year. And that's the way most people live, right? Paycheck to paycheck. You might save a little bit here and there, and you get your one holiday a year, maybe two if you're lucky. But that's about it. You drive an ordinary car, a boring car. If you drive a nice one, you probably finance it and you're in debt. Right? So that's the way it is for a lot of people, and it's tragic. It really is truly sad to be in that position and to be forced to be in that position. But it's not the way it needs to be. That's what I want to make clear here. And that's what I want to explain to you is how you can actually escape that cycle, what your brain is just wired with from the second you go into school, right? So I realized that people were very, very different to me mentally. I was able to get along with everyone. I was no issue socially or anything like that. Well, I'm introverted naturally, but I was able to get along with people, have friends, and have conversations with people, and I fit in, right? But for me, I knew that people were doing everything wrong. I knew that this was a dead end. I remember working out. Okay, I think I was barely able to make $1 million throughout my career. I can't remember the figure, but it's like, damn, I can never actually have 1 million in my bank. My net worth will never be 1 million going like this, right? So that was a difficult process for me to digest, or a difficult thing for me to digest, and I realized this is not it. I would rather take the chance, and maybe it crashes and burns, but I would rather take the chance to actually be rich and have my own business and to dictate what I do with my life. Okay, so I in 2022 September I joined Twitter. I started learning how to build landing pages. That's essentially just a one-page website. That's literally all it is. The goal of a landing page is to get someone to book a call or to buy a product. That's it. Very simple. I would sell that as a service on Twitter through my personal brand, where I gained followers, thousands a month in the end, or it ended up being, which has allowed my life to change very, very quickly. And that's what I did. Okay, so to if I was to start again, I would leave school as early as possible and go straight into a factory job. I know someone that's making currently about $25 an hour in a factory job. They work 4 nights a week and they're making a hell of a lot of more money than most people are. So in Ireland especially, it's like 22 or €23. That is seriously good money. Whereas the minimum wage in Ireland, I don't know, it's like €11 maybe, something like that. So he's well over double the minimum wage, right? So he can save up very, very fast. If the money is spent intelligently and not burned, you can save up very, very fast a year's worth of expenses, 1 year worth of expenses. So if I was doing that, I'd have a year's expenses saved in 2 years, maybe even the year and a half. And during that year and a half, I would be working on learning a skill in my spare time. Remember, he's working 4 nights a week. So that means he has what, 3 nights off, or 3 days essentially. So it's a long weekend every week. He has loads of time to work a skill. He can still get a sleep during the day. And while he's learning that skill and picks what he wants to learn and what he'll actually enjoy, Other people are just too stuck in their 9 to 5 and thinking, oh, I get to watch Netflix this evening. I get to watch YouTube, whatever it may be. The TV show, Love Island, whatever it could be. Okay. Whereas if he spends those 3 days grinding, even if he spends 2 days grinding and learning that new skill and posting content online and building a social media following, teaching people about everything he's learning and showcasing his journey. Like in my case, I think I've averaged like 2,000 followers a month. And even if you get 25% of that, even if you fail and get 25% of that a month, right? That's what, 500 a month? 500 followers a month. Do that for a year and you've 6,000 followers. By the time I had 6,000 followers, I'd quit my 9 to 5 job, right? So you see now you can make a full time income from 6,000 followers, no problem. And that only takes about a year in the worst case, genuinely the worst case. If you worked with me, like many of my students, they get that in like a few months, right? You can average 1,000, 2,000, even 3,000 followers in some months. So you can scale past that in no time. But with 6,000 followers, you make your full time income. Okay. So you replace that 9 to 5 income. And now you have a year's worth of savings stacked up. So why not leave your manual labor, your factory job now that paid well, but now you're making just the same amount of money essentially from your social media account, selling that service and selling that skill that you had learned in the previous year or two while saving up to then be able to leave that factory job. Okay. So basically, you come out of school at 18, you work for, let's say, 2 years. And if you're building, say you take a year learning the skill, which is ridiculous. It doesn't take that long to learn any skill. And then you take a year to build up your social media. You have 6,000 followers. You have a skill that you're really, really good at. You're top 1% at that point if you're learning that for a year. And then you have a year's worth of savings behind you. You're living at home, by the way. Live at home while you can, right? I know some people have different situations and they're forced to leave home and whatnot. But if you can live home, you're truly blessed. You're very, very lucky. And you can take that leap of faith. So you come out of school when you're 18. When you're 20 years old, if you're self-employed, working for yourself, and you're making more than the average person makes. And now you've 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, whatever you want, as long as you want to work and build up from there. So once you don't go blowing all the money, once you actually earn a little bit and you do well, you don't buy ridiculous watches straight away, you don't buy flashy cars straight away. You do that a couple of years down the line, you can build up to that point and buy things at different milestones and actually do everything wisely. I've bought flashy watches, I've bought flashy cars, all that, but I'm doing this for a long time and I have a lot of money saved up behind me. And I've had exceptional years in business. Okay. I was always a good saver, even in my 9 to 5, right? I always enjoyed saving, and at certain milestones, I would purchase certain things. Okay. So once you then make your first 100K, you have your first 100K banked, you're free. I hit my first 100K net worth in, I think it was April, May probably, maybe even June of 2023. Within a few months, I doubled that, literally. Your first $100,000 is the hardest thing that you will ever earn, right? Because you have to work years for it. You're working all your life for it till you're 20, 23 years old, in my case, right? Even I was 24 actually with my first 100,000. But then you can double that and continue to snowball that very, very quickly. Now you can throw it into stocks, crypto, assets like property, right? You can start buying watches that sometimes they can go up in value if you purchase the right ones, right? And at that point, you have true freedom, you have true opportunity. You can even put money as a savings fund into a bank that gives you 4% interest, right? And it pays you a couple of $100 per month, right? So different things like that will add up and add to your income. And then you can eventually do this for like 3 to 5 years. You won't even have to work online. You won't even have to work in your own business, right? You'll be removed from that point where if you have businesses, you'll be able to have employees essentially run them. You maintain and manage, right? And that's it. And off like a fairy tale. Okay. So that's the process that I would take to go from poor, broke in school to making multiple six figures yearly, literally a couple of years later. Anyone can do it. I failed pretty much everything in school. I was lucky to make it through school. I really, really was. But I excelled in being able to think for myself afterward and excelled in saving money and earning money eventually because I was committed to make the best out of my life. So if you do the same and you stay committed and consistent there's no question that you can do the exact same, right? So hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching it all the way through. Subscribe, leave a like. That would be very, very helpful for me, and it helps with the algorithm, right? And definitely check out the description. I'll have a fantastic opportunity for you there. Check that, or else the pin comment, and I'll see you in there. So thanks for watching. Take care. On to the next one.